Is a $25 tent from Walmart waterproof? So I found a phone number here for Ozark. Let's give them a call and see if they recommend this product being used for backpacking. Not bad, 1 minute. Terrible music. Whew, awful. Hey there, buddy. I have a question about the Ozark Trail one-person backpacking tent.
If you take it out into like the wind and rain, it's just not made for that. It's not going to hold up well for you.
Do not take this tent out in anything other than perfect weather. I'm done. My name is Luke. This is the Outdoor Gear Review. Thank you very much for tuning in. Okay, so a few weeks back, a viewer sent me a tent in the mail. It was some viewer mail. You guys might have seen that video, and I may not have actually put it up yet. It really just depends on how I space out the videos. But anyways, a viewer named Tan sent me a tent from Walmart, and it was the Ozark one-person backpacking tent. Now, there are actually many different tents from Ozark, which they refer to as one-person backpacking tent. So the model number for this tent is W796.1, just in case you were interested. Let's go over to this tent real quick, take a quick look at it. So that's the front. It's more of a bivvy than a tent. Going around to the back. It has two poles, one in the front, one in the back here. Of course, the one in the back is smaller. This thing is super simple to set up. Comes with 7 stakes. It is a single wall tent. You receive a sleeve for the poles, a sleeve for the stakes. It comes with this box, owner's manual, and the stuff bag right here. Speaking of the poles, these are fiberglass. As you can see, you have 2 guy line points. Those are included. There are no other guy line points for this tent. This is the entrance right here. And take a look at the size of this thing. It is absolutely huge. This thing is gigantic. So I get the viewer mail, I open it up, there's this tent, and how awesome is that? Tan, thank you very much for doing this for everyone, because I get to share all of this information with you all. So I see this tent, it's an inexpensive tent, which costs roughly $25 from Walmart. You can find it on Amazon and other websites, but the prices are higher. So roughly 25 bucks at Walmart. Tan, as well as many of the other viewers, want me to begin testing out very inexpensive products such as this. So the day that I received this tent, I got to the house, opened it up, saw the tent, and the sky was black, right? So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going outside, I'm going to set this up real quick so it can have a few hours out in the rain. Let's see if this tent is waterproof, because that is my question. Is a $25 tent from Walmart waterproof? And the answer is no. No, it is not. This is not a waterproof tent. This thing failed all the way around the entire body. I'll show you some clips now. So we have some rain coming in, some storms. We will see how well she does. Go take a look here on the inside of the tent. Now we are looking at the waterproofness of this tent. Okay, as we can see here, there is a water drop here. There's water here. Looks like this seam here is failing. We have water on the other side, over here. Some pulling, a good bit of pulling here. Again, more leaking at the seams here. Again, more leaking. The point of leakage for this tent goes all the way around the body of the tent. It deals with the seams, but not all of them. For example, the seam on top here, this has been taped and it is fully waterproof. Same on the other side. But the seam down here, towards the bottom of the tent, it has not been taped, and water will leak through this all the way around. So let's go over the stats real quick for this tent before going any further. Price, $25. Color, yellow and tan. Weight, around 3 pounds. It is 96 inches long, 48 inches wide at the front of the tent. At the footbox, it is 24 inches wide. The front of the tent is 36 inches high, and it does taper down to 22 inches. Now, I was able to find a website called OzarkTrailTents.com. You guys should go over and check that thing out, because it's like a blast from the 90s. As soon as you go there, you are greeted with this pop-up on the side, and it's this animated character who is talking to you about Ozark tents. It's super weird. It's Probably one of the fishiest sites that I've been to in a long time.
Hi, and welcome to Ozark Trail Tents.com, home to Walmart's brand of camping tent, Ozark Trail. Whether you're looking for a new camping tent, sleeping bag, camping gear, or replacement tent poles, you have come to the right place. Take a look around, read our camping gear reviews, and start planning your next camping getaway today.
And that animated character reminds me of like a desktop buddy from the 90s, like Bonsai Buddy, or like the desktop stripper babes or whatever. It's really weird. So as we discussed already, the perimeter, the stitching around the perimeter, that is the weak point for this tent. Water will come in when it's raining. You do have to be careful with your setup here. You need the front of this tent to be leaning over some. That way when it's raining, the water slides off of this vestibule here, this very short, very small vestibule, and stays away from the zipper. Because if the water hits the zipper, it will leak through. Now, this tent was put out in the rain for roughly 2 hours, and you saw how much water was inside of it. And that was a very light to moderate rain. No thunderstorm, nothing heavy. And this thing definitely leaked. Now, you could take some seam sealer and go all the way around the perimeter here and stop this thing up. That does not mean that you will stay dry inside of this tent. And that's because this is a single walled tent with limited ventilation. I can tell you, I spent one night in this tent and I do not want to spend another night in it. The condensation and the amount of moisture buildup on the walls was probably the most insane I have ever seen in a tent before. The entire thing was soaking wet. And of course that's with a moderate humidity level, right? I believe around 65-70% here in the mountains that night. No rain at all. I just had this zipped up. If you were able to camp out and have this door open, but with just the mesh here, your condensation level, the moisture level, will be kept to a minimum, but you will still be wet. Don't worry about that. But if you have to seal this thing up because of cold conditions or because it's wet outside, something like that, this thing will gather an incredible amount of condensation. More than you can imagine. I mean, it really is terrible. This material here, which I believe is a polyester, is not breathable at all. And that could be because of the water repellent finish, which is on the material itself. Now, speaking of the water repellent finish on this tent, after it got done raining, I came out, took a look at the tent. There was some pooling here on the material, and it was discolored. And I believe that is the water repellent treatment that was done to the tent, so it is coming off. Based upon my observations of this tent so far, I believe that this is a product that you will have to treat yourself with a water repellent coating often to keep yourself dry. If you are in an area that's very dry, that receives very little moisture, this is an interesting option to consider because for $25, you're getting a $25 tent. This tent right here is worth $25. It performs like a $25 tent should. If you are in a wet area, a place with high humidity, man, this is not the tent for you. This is, without a doubt, not the tent for me. The amount of moisture buildup inside of this thing is, like I mentioned before, incredible. The leaking around the perimeter is insane. This is a $25 tent. There are loose threads all over the place. Look at that stitching. It's very poor. I wouldn't want to pull on this, right? Going down, it's all kinked up. Very rough. Here's a long thread sticking out. Here's another one. That's very long. As I was doing some research about this tent here, I found one review where the individual stated he had an issue with the tent leaking. Leaked when it rained, he had condensation build up like crazy, so he contacted the company. He was told by the company, by a representative, that these tents are made for use in the front yard of your home and in perfect conditions. They are not made for backpacking, and they are not meant to be used in foul weather. That is incredibly interesting. So I found a phone number here for Ozark. Let's give them a call and see if they recommend this product being used for backpacking.
Dial it at any time or for a dial by name directory, please be aware that this phone call may be recorded for training and quality control purposes.
Your expected wait time is approximately 1 minute.
It's not bad. 1 minute. Terrible music. Whew, awful.
Hi, thanks for calling Excel Outdoors. My name is Benji. How can I help you?
Hey there, buddy. I have a question about the Ozark Trail one-person backpacking tent. And hopefully you can answer that for me. I purchased this tent, and I actually came across a review on the Walmart webpage, and it said that this individual had talked to customer service at Ozark, and they were told that they shouldn't go backpacking with this tent and that it should only be used in their front yard. And so I was just kind of hoping to get some clarification on that.
I think the clarification is really that they're really made for perfect weather. If you take it out into like the wind and rain, it's just not made for that. It's not going to hold up well for you.
Okay, I appreciate the honesty. Thank you very much.
Sure enough.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, folks, there you have it, straight from Ozark themselves. Do not take this tent out in anything other than perfect weather. Should you purchase this tent? No. Is it great for your kids to play in? Yes. If you think about that, that's fairly devious, because when you go to Walmart, you're buying a tent, you're thinking about, like, wait, I'm going to take this in the outdoors and it's going to protect me. But here with Ozark, they are saying do not use it in any conditions less than perfect. Something to consider. So folks, it has been roughly 24 hours since I filmed the Ozark video, and I made a call to their customer service. And after sleeping upon this, I wanted to do a sort of follow-up and give you all my impressions. I think the fact that this company, Ozark, is selling this tent here, and they are advertising this as a backpacking tent when it is not, is extremely deceptive. I don't want anybody to go out and purchase this tent and then take this out onto the trail, miles away from the car, from the house, and so on, and get stuck in a situation that may become life or death threatening. That is something that could happen very easily, especially when they are advertising this as a backpacking tent. The conditions are not always going to be perfect, and with this tent here, the one-person backpacking tent, that's what it was designed for. I think this is extremely deceptive. It's wrong. They should not be offering this tent as a backpacking option, because it is not one. This tent was made for your kids to play in the front yard, right? That's pretty much it. If you take this tent out into the weather, you are putting yourself at serious risk. It is not made for the wind. It is not made for the weather, the rain, the moisture, and so on. I apologize, folks, for the low lighting and for the echo, but that's how it is. My neighbor's actually mowing his yard, so if I had the door open or if I was outside, it'd be really loud. Anyways, folks, I'm all for inexpensive, very budget-friendly tents, but this is not a good option. And you do have to question Ozark as a company, as a whole. Are their tents, are any of them waterproof? And honestly, that is not an answer that I have at this moment. I went through a number of different listings on Walmart.com, and a lot of them stated that the tents are weather resistant but not waterproof, and that if they are outside in the rain, the materials will soak through and you will get wet. With that being the case, I am going to make a separate video stating an advisory about purchasing Ozark products. You really need to know what product that you have and what its capabilities are. That is very important information to have, and you should have it. If you have an Ozark tent or you are considering purchasing one, you need to call the Ozark customer service. I will put the phone number in the description box down below, and you need to ask them about the performance of that tent. I do not want anyone to get hurt. I don't want anyone to die from exposure, hypothermia, or whatever because their tent failed them. With that being said, do I recommend the one-person Ozark backpacking tent? I do not. No, not at all. And as it stands, I'm not sure if I would even consider any of their products based upon the deceptive nature of their advertising. With that being said, everyone, I'm going to finish up the editing of this video now, shoot the other advisory video, and I'm excited to see your comments down below. So folks, make sure to chime in, state your thoughts. If you love Ozark and you have a product which is fantastic, make sure to state that down below. Make sure to state what that product is. If you've had an Ozark product that has failed you, comment down below. If you think my review and my criticisms and my alert are accurate, thumbs up. If you disagree with me, give it a thumbs down. Coffee time. Strength and honor. Bye.